FastStone.org is host to some particularly fabulous freebie software, one of which is Image Viewer 3.5, an essential for any enthusiast or even professional photographer. Although if you are a pro, do the decent thing and buy a commercial license. For non-commercial use, it's free. Let's have a little look. JPEG, CR2, yep, it handles RAW. You'll find that a lot of decent digital SLRs can capture JPEGs and RAW at the same time. RAW data being straight from the chip with no processing in between. Now I'm in thumbnail view, but you can view images like this detail view, which is actually pretty dull, and there's an even more boring one, which is just a file list with the image files listed as such. But let's go back to thumbnails. You'll also see that it handles video files as well, but being stills photographers, we'll stick with images, and you can order them by file name, size, date, dimension, type, all very useful. Zooming back out, you can scroll up and down with the mouse scrolly wheel, or use the sidebar at the right hand side, as is pretty typical with an image viewer, to go through the shots. Time for a bit more investigation of the menus. Open, save as you'd expect, reload, email, print out, download photos from an attached camera or card reader, and you can even use this piece of software as a screen capture product should you need to show people what you've been doing on your computer screen. A double click on a thumbnail brings up full screen mode. That'll be Aki there, and Spike. What are we going to do now, guys? Funny pair of dogs. With the scroll wheel of the mouse, you can jump between adjacent photographs in full screen. Pressing escape brings you back into thumbnail view, and the developers have added in some image editing capability, although really this is an image viewer, so you might want to use your own preferred image editor as opposed to the various items they've got on this list. Add remove programs dialog comes up on this menu. Let's go. Oh, do we see an Adobe folder there? Yes, we do. Oh, look, Photoshop CS3. Oh, hello. I think we'll have you. Yep, that's the best one for the job. So, OK that. There it is. OK it. And now, with a simple click of the E key, you can bring up the selected image in Photoshop, or whatever flavour of image editor you prefer. Now, Camera Raw support is this program's great strength, so we'll order by type and bring all our CR2s, or Canon RAW 2, right to the top. You can stroll down and see the JPEGs are somewhere near the bottom of the list, and there is a very interesting facility here. If we scroll back up with the mouse wheel, click on a few adjacent photos, shift click to select multiple items. We'll have 4 of Aki, and then go to this icon, which enables you to compare the 4 shots against each other in full screen mode and zoom in and out with the mouse. Very handy. If we take a little look at the top right hand corner of the screen, you'll notice that EXIF information can be brought up from the original file. Limited, but useful. You can also get a limited histogram, and you'll notice, of course, from the spike at the right-hand side of the histogram that his fur is burnt out a little. I just zoom in there with the scroll wheel on the mouse. And I don't know if you can see this at this resolution, but there's a smooth option, which basically smooths out a severely zoomed-in picture. We'll close that for now. Non-contiguous selections can be made by holding down the Control key on the keyboard, clicking with the left button of the mouse. We'll pick a few, because what we're going to do is have a little look at the file conversion capability. And that's to be found under the Tools menu. Convert selected images, and there are our raw files. And we'll go to TIFF. Word of advice, by the way. If you're going to be printing to a domestic printer, inkjet printer, use RGB. CMYK is for colour separation, such as you find in print magazines or brochures. RGB, the printer will work it out for itself, so just leave as is. We've also a batch rename function, but I think we'll keep the original file names. We're going to need an output folder, so let's select it. Here we are, bring us up the dialog, and here's our drive, and good doggies. Just those four, from CR2 to TIFF. Click on Start, and it does take a little time to process a raw image into tagged image file format. Let's just see how long it takes. Processing, there you go, there's one. Here comes another one. And just look at the file sizes. It's interesting that the raw image is actually much smaller than the TIFF, but that's TIFFs for you. I'll click on Done, and we've been having a few TIFFs, so let's take a closer look. Go to Open, find the folder, there are the TIFFs, and if you click on the icons, you'll see that the right hand side of the dialog you get a preview, along with pixel information, colour information, DPI and all that. They're fairly quick to update, which ain't too bad. I'm going to open the whole lot up, there are 4 TIFFs, and show you something that's a bit crazy actually. You can select all of these TIFFs, and then if you head for the Create menu, well, obviously a slideshow is possible, contact sheet. What interests me is wallpaper builder, wallpaper anywhere, and this is pretty strange. It collects the images very quickly, and then there they are, all 4 of them. You can grab them with the mouse, left click, shunt them around the page. You notice on the left hand side you've got all these strange border effects. So let's select a doggy pic. And oh, it's a maple leaf, and dragging one of the corner handles out, well, there's a frame. But we love Spiky, so let's give him a heart, and I think Aki deserves a bizarre rhomboid shape. Again, you can drag this out. You can composite numerous images into a piece of wallpaper using more than 150 border effects, and just make your desktop look really silly if you want to. Inevitably, we're going to want to examine settings, or the F12 key. We can rename the K drive as a favorite folder. The location stays the same, but you can change the name, Aki and Spike, for that is who they are. Looking further, there's a whole lot of tabs along here. Programs, Photoshop we've already linked up. You can link in pieces of music for your slideshows, MP3 there. The viewer, there are lots of options, and one I like in particular is Auto Rotate by EXIF Orientation tag, which can save an age on manual rotation. Thumbnail size can be adjusted, as can the thumbnail border shape. I'll leave it at 120 by 90 because that's about comfortable, and the magnification ratio can also be adjusted. JPEG output set from poor to best. Raw handling, now this is the interesting stuff. I'll tell you a bit more about that in a second. We don't have a dual monitor in this system, but there is also ICC profile management for JPEG and TIFFs, which is a real pro feature. Now look at the file associations, all the usual ones, but let's see: CRW, Canon, CR2, Canon, Nikon, NEF, Olympus, Fuji RAW, Adobe Digital Negative, Minolta RAW, Pentax RAW, 2 lots of Sony RAW. This is a real pro piece of software. So I'm going to associate all of my Canon D20 shots with CR2 in Image Viewer. And before we go, just jump back to the full screen view. Note that an awful lot of the functions can be accessed with a right click on the mouse, which saves a lot of time again when you're dealing with individual images. So I urge you, if you're the kind of photographer, the enthusiast or professional who's working with a lot of raw capture, and you're using a PC, because it's PC only, from Windows SE 98 up to Vista, get along to the website, download your copy now. It's one of the greatest freeware tools out there.